Hey, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me, Sahami Pinard, the owner, founder, creator, whatever title you give me, of Awareness LLC, where mental health is wealth. Tonight's live, I'm actually doing a little ahead of time since we had so much technical difficulties last week. So anything that pops up, I want to have enough time to re-record or fix. And I also want to be able to engage more with those who may be asking questions in the comments. So if you don't see me like answering real time or during something I'm saying, that's probably why. Just wanted to put that out there. Tonight's live shouldn't be too long. Last week, we were able to go through what exactly the Daniel fast is, what we need to do. I do have one slide in here for those who are joining us for the first time, but I just wanted to reiterate this is a Daniel fast for 2024. We are fasting for breakthrough in our mental health, physical health, financial health, tonight's topic, our spiritual being, and all that. Everything that God has for us, we want it in 2024. So let's get to tonight's presentation. All right, so financial breakthrough. Why did I pick this? Because I mean, who isn't trying to get financially like just free? You don't want creditors calling you. You don't want to have to worry about credit scores. You're buying a new house, buying new cars, kids. Life just happens at whatever speed that it wants. And you want to be ready when that happens. And if your money looking a little funny, it's hard not to be stressed out when things come up. So if we are financially ready, when these things happen, we won't need to have anxiety, depression, whatever else you may go through. It will not have to be as bad because you're ready. Again, for those who are joining us for the first time, this is the Daniel Fast. We are pushing away our plates from the hours of 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. at least. And we are saying no after that time to no meat, no dairy, no fried food, no alcohol or juice, and no added sugars. For my people who are asking, what about tea? We said as long as it's not caffeinated, you should be okay. Easiest way to avoid any of that is to actually just make your own teas. Get the leaves that you want, ginger, garlic, whatever it is that you're making, and do it yourself at home. You can enjoy fruits, vegetables, grilled or baked items, fruit vegetable juices or smoothies, spring water, or just water. It's up to you. Definitely should have your prayer time during those times that you're fasting and even after, because if we're not including God, this is just a diet. So whether it's a devotional that you've been putting off, whether it's a prayer time you've been wanting to incorporate into your day, this is the time to get that started and make it into a habit. I also encourage all of us who fast to have accountability partners or partner and a group of people that can touch and agree with what we're doing. Because if you are doing this for the first time, it may not go the way you want it to. Headaches will happen, attitudes may come out. You're not your best self when you're hangry. So it's always good to be able to call on someone and say, I'm not doing too good right now. Send me a scripture, send me a sermon, let's talk so I don't run for this food that I am trying to keep away from. Or if it's a glass of wine, whichever one. Oh, yeah, before I go on, for those who are used to fasting, remember I'm challenging all of you to go a little bit later, whether 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But mandatory hours is at least 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. All right, now let's get into this financial breakthrough. We're always going to start with scripture because this is God in therapy. Our first one comes from Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 4. He who watches the wind, waiting for all conditions to be perfect, that's what watching the wind is, will not sow, and he who looks at the clouds will not reap. Now, this is for my people who procrastinate or just have stage fright. I was definitely there. I needed everything to look perfect before I released my t-shirt line, before I launched the website back in 2019. So many things were going wrong. I was editing every little aspect of it. I'm talking about like spaces, like, no, I need the T to hit right here in the middle so it can align, to the point where my website it ended up crashing at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I have to wake up for work at least 7 a.m. And here I am at 2 a.m. because I couldn't just let it go, having to rebuild my whole website within the next 2 to 3 hours before the launch date because I didn't want to push it back. It was at that time I realized, okay, It doesn't have to look perfect, but I have to be willing to start. Okay. So for my people who are wanting everything to line up just so, it's not always going to be that way. But are you willing to start? At least take the first step. And as you learn what needs to happen, you adjust. You learn how to pivot. And this is exactly what God is telling us. Stop waiting for that perfect opportunity to launch the business, to invest into that stock, or look into your retirement portfolio. We have it, but we don't even know what's going on in there. At least look to see what's going on and what you need to pivot in. Now, second one, these are warnings because before we get to the good, I just want to get through some of the like, oh, okay, I got to get better at this. Second one is, for where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. This comes from Matthew chapter 6, verse 21. What is God telling us? Where the things that we value the most is the things that we put more focus into. These are the things that we're watching. When I first started investing in stocks, me, E-Trade, and Robinhood were best friends. When I tell you I was there 8:59, I was ready to press login to see what was changing on the stocks that I had put money in. What should I be buying into? What should I be coming out of? Especially when I got into options trading. Forget it. Like you were doing your own research, because if it hit the news, it was already too late. Like you should have already made your changes. So wherever your heart is, that is most likely where your treasure is. So, what are you investing in? Where do you see your focus in? And maybe you need to do some evaluations about, is this the best option for me, or maybe not? And again, I need to pivot. Next one, Ecclesiastes, again, just a very good book in terms of life lessons. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. Don't look at the dollar amount. Yes, there's a financial status that you may be looking to hit, and you feel like when I get here, it'll be good. But let me tell you from experience, the more you make, the more you need to pay. When I went from RN to NP, doubled. Cool, easy. Somehow I was still managing to create bills for myself that was hitting my new salary amount. Like something had to switch up. I had to go back to my budget. I had to readjust. It just never seemed like it was enough. But mind you, I just said like I doubled my paycheck. So what was I doing wrong? I was focusing too much on the money. I wasn't doing what I needed to do in terms of savings, investing, and my next slide will tell you what I was definitely doing wrong. I wasn't tithing. I would give money to my church, yes. Like if I had like a $5 bill, I'd throw it into the offering, or a $20 bill. When I felt generous, quote unquote, I would throw it in there. And I felt like, okay, let me pat myself on the back. I did a great thing. But tithing is 10% of what you receive. So whatever your salary may be, or whatever that paycheck is, 10%. And there's some people, God bless them, that go above and beyond. They give 10% before taxes are taken out. I'm still working my way up there. So if you are not giving to God what belongs to God, how are you coming to him and also asking him, hey, can you at least bless this right here, this 100%? When I'm ready, I will start giving you what you need. I'll give the 10%, the 5%. But for now, can you just bless this endeavor that I'm trying to do? You look kind of wild. That's like going to someone you already owe money to and continuously asking them to borrow more and more. At some point, that person's just going to stop answering your calls, your texts, avoiding you altogether, because when is enough? So we have to be willing to start tithing. That 10%, it's not money that you're giving back to God. You are legit just borrowing this. He's the reason you have this job. He's the reason why you got the pay increase or whatever it may be. So are you acknowledging him in this process of getting through financial breakthroughs? If not, again, we need to reevaluate, because if you love money, it'll never be enough. But that 90% in your hand with the 10% in his blesses the whole pot, as opposed to you just holding on to the 100%. When I first started tithing, it's not to say that I believed in it. It was an experiment, in all honesty. I was like, you know what? Let me see what happens when I give this 10%. because in my mind, I had all these bills. I'm like, yo, I could take that amount of money and put it towards this credit card. I can put it towards this bill. My friend wants to go away here. Like, that money can really do something. But all these things are always there. So what was I doing differently as someone who says they're seeking God and seeking a relationship that's any type of way different from what I was doing before this? So I took a risk because that's how I saw it at the time. Giving 10% of my paycheck was a risk. And when I tell you, I have not missed a beat, like to the point where I switched jobs, didn't get paid for a month, didn't touch savings or anything like that. And everything was taken care of. I can't even begin to tell you where, like how. I would love to say I budgeted right. And because I did that, I'm human, I'm going to make sure things are ready. But the fact that I was able to even travel within that month to 3 countries and everything was paid for cash, that has to be attributed to me wanting to get wanting to be faithful in my tithing, in all honesty. And I know there is going to be naysayers on here who watches this and says, how does giving away money to God bless the things that you have remaining or bless what you still need to do? All I can tell you is try it. I bet you don't miss a beat, and I bet you have way more than you need. Now, the yay scriptures, the ones we're all excited about, that helps us plan for that financial breakthrough that we need and are waiting on. First one, Deuteronomy 28, verse 12. It says, the Lord will open for you his good treasure house, the heavens, to give rain to your land in its season and to bless all the work of your hand. And you will lend to many nations, but you will not borrow. If you're not shouting already, like I don't even know why we're still speaking. God legit wants to make you the person that they have to come to. You won't be going to them asking. It won't be just enough. You will have overflow. This is what his word says. So you're looking at your bank account right now and it's maybe not there yet. Go to him in prayer. What am I doing wrong? What do I need to switch up? Because your word says you want to make me the lender and not the borrower. So how do I do that? Because God's promises do not go back to him void. So if he says it, he's going to come through on it. But we also have our part to play. Second one, Romans 8:28. I love this chapter in Romans. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. What is your why? Like, while you are stacking up and you're creating these businesses, what is your why? Is it simply to say that I have all this money, I can stunt, I can go wherever I want, I can buy whatever I want, which is great. But please be mindful, there are billionaires committing suicide. So obviously money isn't enough. What is your why? What is the purpose that God has placed in you that you need to work out? Because he has the riches for you. He wants to see you live in the nice houses, travel around this world that he allows us to walk on daily. But are you working the purpose that he's placed in you? If you don't know what that purpose is, when's the last time you stopped, prayed, and asked him? Or even asked the people he's placed around you, what do you see in me that I'm not seeing? What is a business idea that maybe I'd be great at, but I just kind of write it off like, oh, I just like to do this. Those things that you just like to do are the skills and talents that God has placed in you. That might be the next step to you getting this next $1 billion idea. So what is your purpose? 3, invest in 7 ventures. Yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. In other words, you avoid risk, avoid disaster by diversifying your income. Just, I don't know how to break it down anymore. You need multiple streams of income. All these things that we're hearing out in the world, they're not new. I'd be very shocked if 100% of them weren't based from the Bible, because it's all here. 7 streams of income, 8 streams of income, however many streams you need. The Bible tells us diversify. Don't just have one means of getting money, especially if you have many talents. Like, you have a journal, cool. That journal can also be a book. It can also be a calendar with inspirational sayings. It can also be a coloring book. It can also be shirts with sayings on it. Like, diversify where it's coming from. Because if one, for whatever reason, gets hit, you still have 6, 7 others that you're pulling from. If you're a speaker, are you doing courses? Okay, it's great that you get hired to do these engagements, but start the YouTube channel. Grow your subscribers to what they need and then start getting paid for ads running through it. Like, what else can I do with this one idea? And again, if you don't know, this is where your group comes in. This is where the people, the community that you build comes in, because they see things in you that we sometimes don't see in ourselves. I originally had the idea for God in Therapy when I started awareness, but it was just a t-shirt for me. And then I went on thinking awareness is strictly mental health. And I did Bible studies every Tuesday with my prayer group, and it was nothing to me. Then one of my prayer group family members was like, why don't you make books with this? Like, why don't you put these together? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I just put Bible studies together for fun. Like, I like doing this and I like teaching what God teaches me. And she's like, yeah, but other people are searching for this too. And when I tell you, we sat down several meetings and she broke down how it should be and what I should be looking at and where I should sell it, who I should be, I guess, promoting it to, like all these ideas. And within like 2 weeks, I was doing my 3 series devotionals. And then again, she's the same one that actually invited me out to work on a business idea that she had that we could do for the both of us. And from there, I just decided, you know what, things didn't necessarily work out with that, but I had my camera, I had all my gear, and I had this message that I wanted to share. I was like, let me record this and I'll just put it out. And that's where the podcast started. So the people you have around you are so important. They should want to see you do good. If they're upset every time you get an inch up above them, that may be the wrong group. I don't know how you're going to diversify and get better if they're not looking to see you do better. Now, credit cards, because this is financial breakthrough and we are in the year 2024, we use credit, but are you using it correctly? I want you to pause this for a moment, screenshot this, or jot it down for yourself. These are some beginner questions that I actually had. I believe I had a financial advisor and a American Express credit card or credit account specialist on one of my check-in episodes called Secure the Bag. And through it, they went through the different questions we should be asking as consumers when it comes to credit cards. What is a good credit card for a beginner? Will you automatically qualify for a good one? What can you do if you're having problems getting approved? Is paying the minimum bad? How often should you make payments? How do you get a reward card? All these questions she went through. And you know, American Express is pretty up there. So she was able to tell us from behind the scenes what they look for in approving people for certain things. If you're looking to get a black card, this may be where you need to start. I'm going to link the full video to that on here, but it's also on awareness.com under the, I believe it's called pandemic events. But again, I'll link it on here. Diversify your income. Please learn something new. You can't possibly tell me that the Bible is telling us you need to get different streams of income and you're still stuck on only one. Do you know about stocks? That's a passive income, in all honesty. You learn about 2 or 3 companies. Don't OD. I know the pandemic, a lot of us just jumped in because everything was on sale. Like if you had a little bit of extra money, you were buying things. Apple, Nike, Disney, all of these stocks were on sale, so everybody was in it. But what have you done with it since? Did you learn a little bit more? Are you into currency? Are you into Forex? Are you into options and puts? How do you leverage what you already have so that you have continuous income? For my people who are working a 9-to-5, your Roth IRA, have you actually looked into that? What is the max? How are you leveraging that for yourself? This year, 2024, it went up. You can do 7K if you're 50 and under. And for those who are older than 50, you can max out with 8K. And that now lowers the amount that you're getting taxed on because they ask you, did you put any money towards these things? And that's one of them. Unless Uncle Sam decides to switch it up, but he hasn't. For my business owners, so you work a 9-to-5 and you also have a business, that would be me. Do you have a SEP IRA? This is essentially the same thing as an IRA, but you're able to add to this under your business, which now, whatever income you make as a business owner, it also gets taxed lower because you've put towards this. The max for 2024 this year, I believe, is 69K. Do you have a trust? Because God forbid things go wrong, your business is now under a trust. So they can't necessarily come for you because you don't necessarily own the company. Your trust does. But speak to a financial advisor about all these things, a lawyer to make sure these things are in place. If you want to go more in depth, please DM or ask me questions. I've learned the long and hard way why these things are important, but if I can help you maybe skip some of the potholes, for sure. And I'm always going to point you towards an actual financial advisor. I use Mia James, used to be known as Mia Bradford. She's married now, congratulations. But she is who really helped me dig into this and put me in with the SEP IRA people that I use for my business as well as my Roth IRA. Passive income, Etsy, Shopify, print on demand, YouTube channel, something. You should be able to create something where you don't even have to think about it. Stocks, you got to put thought into it. You have to be doing your research. You got to know what's going on with your company. What does the leadership look like? You have to pay attention to that. Yes. But with print on demand and all these little shops that you just pay, I believe, like a monthly fee just to have a store up, come on, you're the funniest person in your group. Take those things, put it on an Etsy t-shirt, put it on journals, a phone cover, and just put it such what your price needs to be, even if it's $2 above their asking price. This is money you didn't have coming in at all. And if you get, real big, up that $10, $20 income off of each item, but have something that you can say is just passive. I'm not thinking about it. For my speakers, do you have courses? I'm currently trying to work on a course myself. Build that. So I may not necessarily have to wake up and be there and ask questions. I just have my course online. You download it, you go through it. And that's helping people. Also passive income. You don't have to get up and show up. Life insurance. Now, my main thing with life insurance, again, I learned this from my financial advisor, like max that thing out like you can. Use it as your bank. I don't know all the specifics, so I don't want to like start going into it because she had to break it down for me several times and I still go to her. But you want to make sure that you're set up for the future. It's great to get financial breakthrough right now, but am I set for the future? Because that's the whole point of this, right? You want to make sure you're good, your kids are good. You don't want to be working till 75, 80. I don't even want to work till 50, in all honesty. So what am I doing now to make sure that, God forbid, I don't work or I can't work, that I still have money coming in? That's where all these things come through. Long-term care riders. If you do have a life insurance policy, go into it and please make sure you have a long-term care rider. If not, call your insurance agent and figure out, what do I need to do to get it? Whether it's getting into a whole new policy, getting an extra policy, what do I need to do? Because you're going to want to have that. And again, if you have questions, put them in the comment sections. You can DM GodInTherapy_awareness. Send an email, and I'm going to direct you to my financial advisor and life insurance agent because she's dope. Now, outside of all that, saving apps. I love my saving apps. I have been promoting Capital since, I want to say 2019, 2020. I'm still waiting for them to write me a check, but that's okay because I'm going to use them anyway because I see the benefits of it. There are certain things that come up in life that you already know is coming up, right? Birthdays, certain trips that you plan in advance, Christmas. You know these things are coming up. So wouldn't it be great if throughout the year, the change that you don't spend gets put into a small account, or you have a dollar amount that goes into an account every week when you get paid or before you get paid, like little things like that gets set aside. I have done this for trips, for accounts, future endeavors that I'm working on. Christmas, for sure. It came in so handy for me for Christmas last year because I don't know what it is. It's like you You start July, you blink, it's September, October, and then it's Christmas. And you're like, where's this money supposed to be coming from? Capital is so great with that. You set the rules that you want. Do you want to put $5 a day into one? And you can create multiple plans. Like I said, I have things for future endeavors. I have things for now, like a self-care fund. So I don't constantly have to go dip into my paycheck to set aside self-care funds. If I want a massage or a whole spa day, that account is already set up. Birthdays, I already have that account set up. What is it that you're saving for? Because having a plan for it ahead of time makes things so much easier. And now, final but definitely not least, real estate. Do you feel like you're called to real estate? Because why are you not in it? If you have the funds and you are connected to the people who can help you in this, I've seen real estate be a very lucrative business for family members and friends. So again, this is all about diversifying your income, learning something new. People still do their 9 to 5s and have real estate on the side. And some become so successful that real estate is it. I don't even need to, you know, Airbnbs. I didn't even know you didn't need to own property to do Airbnb. I was reading something during the pandemic, like all these companies that just boomed. And one of the posts was saying, Uber is like I don't know, at the time when I was reading it, is one of the richest car companies, but doesn't own a car. Netflix, one of the biggest like movie industries, but doesn't necessarily own or has ever, at the time, hadn't recorded movies or anything like that. So what is stopping you? Because God is telling you, I have given you way too many resources for you not to diversify your income. And last but not least, in this presentation anyway, because I'm pretty sure there will be questions about other apps because there's definitely a lot. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's go back. Acorns. I'm sorry, I skipped Acorns. Acorns is another saving app that I like to use. It allows you, all those apps that you use, Instacart, Uber, Bed Bath and Beyond, it's linked to all the apps for all these different places I know we shop at and tend to use the applications for them, right? And it will take a total amount, whatever your I want to say whatever your total bill is, it'll take a percentage. And it varies based on the company. Like I love using it when I do Instacart because it'll put like 1 or 2% of my total back into an account for me. And again, passive income, I'm not thinking about it. We have to use these things, or we do use these things out of convenience on a daily basis. If you're paying into them, why not let them pay back into you? It just makes sense to me. So look into Capital and Acorns. And now, remember that God blesses us to be a blessing. It's not just about what am I going to do for me? We talk so much. I'm wearing the hoodie. I'm breaking generational curses. It's on the Shopify store. But in order for me to break generational curses, that means I have generational plans. It's not just about me. I see the long-term goals. I see the right now goals. I'm not being selfish with what God has given me. And the more he sees that he can trust you to get the wealth, the resources that you have to the people who need it, the more he knows he can give you. Now, I feel like every business that we've seen or businesses that are doing well, regardless if they acknowledge God or not, understand they're in service to other people. If they don't include other people, they really don't do well. So again, remember, we are blessed to be blessings. The finances, it's not just for me, it's for those that God knows will need it and he can trust me to get it to them. And maybe sometimes it's not even somebody that's down on their luck. Maybe he's looking to see, will you be trustworthy with the family member that you don't like, that gets on your nerves, but you know they're having a hard time and they can use the help. So what are you doing outside of that? Again, if there are any questions, please feel free to hit me up. I will be engaging with everyone. I'm looking through the slides to see if there's anything else that we forgot, but I think we're good. And like legit, tithe, make sure you tithe. I have seen such breakthrough in my finances when I started tithing, and there are levels to it if you are ready for that, because it's tithing and offerings. So when you're ready for the offerings part, God will let you know. But being a blessing to others definitely blesses you more than you'll ever know. Giving back to God at least the 10% that He's loaned you definitely blesses you more than holding on to the 100%. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The I'm Breaking Generational Curses tee is available on the Shopify store. Get yours and let people know that I'm not doing this no more. Those cycles that have been running in my family stopped when it got to me. I'm breaking all of those curses. Remember that your mental health is always wealth. Trust your process, and healing is never canceled. I'll see y'all in the comments.